Imagine waking up tomorrow feeling sharper, more focused, and energized from the very first sip of something simple. What if I told you that a tiny ritual every morning could ignite your brain's circulation, delivering oxygen and nutrients with lightning speed to every corner of your mind? This isn't science fiction. This is biology working at its best, waiting for you to trigger it, and you don't need years of meditation, decades of training, or complicated routines. It's a matter of knowing your body, respecting your biology, and taking action with intention. The brain is a marvel, a complex network of neurons, synapses, and pathways that determine not just your thoughts, but your entire perception of life. Yet, so many of us go through mornings in a haze, struggling to wake up, barely able to focus on the simplest tasks, sipping coffee out of habit rather than strategy. We have allowed ourselves to believe that grogginess is normal, that fatigue is inevitable, and that our brain needs hours to warm up. The truth is, it doesn't. Your brain is ready to fire on all cylinders within minutes if you give it the right signal, the right spark. Now, the body is intelligent. It knows how to circulate blood, how to deliver oxygen, how to energize tissues, but it needs cues. It's like an orchestra waiting for the conductor's baton. Without that cue, the instruments may exist, but the music will never play. A morning shot, a simple blend of nutrients, antioxidants, and circulation-boosting compounds can be that conductor. The moment it hits your system, it signals your body to ramp up blood flow, to open pathways that deliver life, giving oxygen to your neurons to awaken the dormant energy that has been waiting since you went to sleep. Within minutes, your mind starts clearing, your focus sharpens, and your clarity emerges not as a distant goal, but as an immediate reality. Think about the kind of day you could have if your brain started performing at peak capacity right from the first hour. Decisions would become easier, problem solving would feel natural, and creativity would flow without resistance. You'd notice things that others overlook, remember details that normally slip away, and tackle challenges with a calm, confident precision. This is the power of optimal brain circulation. It doesn't just affect memory or cognition, it affects your presence, your confidence, and your ability to engage with the world fully. Many people underestimate the power of morning routines, believing that productivity starts with a schedule or discipline alone. But energy comes first. Energy fuels action, clarity fuels strategy, and momentum fuels success. If your brain isn't receiving proper circulation, no amount of planning or scheduling can substitute for that basic inefficiency. Imagine trying to drive a car with low oil and a clogged engine. The journey becomes painful, slow, and frustrating. That's what happens when your brain's circulation is limited. You are trying to function on a system that isn't operating optimally, and it shows in every part of your life, from your mood to your creativity, from your focus to your endurance. This is why taking a few minutes each morning to trigger circulation is not trivial. It's transformative. It's a small commitment with exponential returns. When you activate this mechanism, your brain not only wakes up physically, but also chemically. Neurotransmitters start firing efficiently, your synapses communicate with precision, and your mental endurance is strengthened. Your ability to handle stress improves because your mind is nourished and ready to process challenges rather than reacting sluggishly. Your mood stabilizes because your brain receives the oxygen it craves, reducing mental fatigue and cognitive fog. You begin the day not merely awake, but alert, empowered, and prepared to harness every opportunity. The beauty of this method is its immediacy. Within minutes, you feel the difference. Some call it mental clarity, others call it heightened alertness, but whatever you call it, it's undeniable. The moment your brain receives increased circulation, you recognize the shift in awareness, the expansion of focus, and the readiness to engage with the world. You no longer approach your day as a passive observer. You step into it as an active participant, fully alive, fully present, fully capable. And the more consistently you do this, the more your brain adapts to this heightened state, reinforcing neurovascular pathways that improve performance long term. This morning shot is not a magic bullet, it's a catalyst. It works in synergy with your lifestyle, your mindset, and your intention. Drinking it without purpose is wasted potential. Drinking it with awareness is empowerment. As you feel your brain firing with more energy, let it remind you that you are responsible for the quality of your thoughts, the sharpness of your decisions, and the direction of your day. The shot triggers the physical potential, but your focus and action define the impact. It's a partnership between physiology and willpower, between opportunity and choice, and the outcome is entirely in your hands. Most people wait until they are struggling to take action. They wait for exhaustion, brain fog, or mistakes before they realize that something simple could have prevented the decline in performance. But those who take control, those who commit to the small daily rituals that enhance brain circulation, step into a completely different plane of productivity and awareness. They are not simply reacting to the day, they are shaping it with intelligence, precision, and intentionality. This is what separates consistent performers from those who drift, from those who wonder why they are stuck in a cycle of mediocrity despite effort. It's not talent alone, it's preparation, and preparation begins with the body and brain working at their best from the start. You may think a single morning shot is insignificant, but significance lies in consistency. Each morning, you activate pathways that improve mental acuity. Each day, you reinforce a habit that tells your body and brain that performance, clarity, and focus are non-negotiable. Within weeks, the effects compound. Memory improves, creativity flourishes, stress diminishes, and decision-making accelerates. Your mornings set the tone for everything that follows, and when your brain is operating at its best, your entire life benefits. This is more than biology, it's empowerment. To nourish your brain, to accelerate circulation, to unlock immediate clarity is to claim control over your mind and your environment. Life rewards those who act, those who understand that every small choice has cumulative power. By dedicating a few minutes each morning to optimize circulation, you are making an investment that multiplies every hour of your day. You are telling yourself that your potential is worth waking up for, that your focus is worth cultivating, and that your energy is worth maximizing. And as your brain responds with heightened clarity, sharper focus, and energized thought, you start to notice a shift not only in performance but in confidence, creativity, and presence. This is the kind of change that isn't flashy but is revolutionary. It doesn't come with guarantees, but it comes with the certainty that you are optimizing what you can control. It doesn't promise instant mastery, but it promises a mind primed to engage, to learn, to solve, to create. Within minutes of that morning shot, you are setting in motion a chain reaction of clarity, intelligence, and opportunity. And when you repeat it consistently, you create a foundation on which everything else focuses. Productivity, creativity, and resilience can thrive at the moment you wake up. Your brain is at its most receptive, its most adaptable, yet most people squander this opportunity by reaching for their phone, sleeping in, or drinking coffee out of habit rather than strategy. The truth is, your brain is designed to respond to stimulation, to react to cues that signal it to wake up fully, and to accelerate circulation that delivers oxygen, nutrients, and energy where it's needed most. When you take a conscious step in the morning, a simple shot, a focused ritual, you are not just performing a physical act. You are sending a clear message to your body and mind. It is time to engage. It is time to perform. It is time to operate at peak capacity. Within minutes, that signal triggers a cascade of physiological responses. Blood begins flowing more efficiently through the brain, arteries dilate, oxygen-rich plasma reaches your neurons, and neurotransmitters start firing with precision. Your mind, which may have felt sluggish or foggy, begins to sharpen, and clarity rises almost instantly, as if a veil has been lifted from your perception. This immediate activation is a power that most people underestimate because they fail to recognize that their mental state is not purely a product of willpower or effort. It is a product of preparation, of giving your body the right signal at the right time. When circulation improves, the effects are undeniable. You feel your thoughts aligning, your ability to focus on a single task improving dramatically, and your creativity begins to surface in ways you didn't expect. Decision-making, which normally requires deliberate thought and repeated evaluation, starts to happen almost naturally, effortlessly. You notice connections between ideas, recall details with ease, and approach challenges with a level of calm precision that was unavailable before. This is because enhanced blood flow is not just about physical oxygenation, it is about the optimization of every process in the brain that allows for higher order thinking. Your neurons are receiving energy to fire in perfect synchrony, your synapses communicate more efficiently, and your cognitive resources, which may have felt scattered or depleted, are suddenly accessible. A few minutes of intentional stimulation each morning can change how your mind functions for hours, turning a slow, reactive brain into a sharp, proactive one. Many people confuse waking up with being ready to perform, but they are not the same. You can be awake physically and yet mentally underpowered, sluggish, or unfocused. This is why the morning is such a critical window, is the time when your brain can respond most dramatically to small interventions. By consciously choosing to improve circulation at this moment, you amplify the natural rhythms of your body. Your metabolism, your nervous system, your cardiovascular function all align to support cognitive activity. Blood flow carries glucose, the brain's primary fuel, and as oxygen and nutrients arrive at your neurons, the brain's ability to process, store, and retrieve information increases exponentially. The difference is immediate. The morning shot is a catalyst that converts potential into performance, signaling to your body that it is time to operate at its peak and setting the tone for how you will engage with the world for the rest of the day. The science behind this is simple yet profound. The brain is a demanding organ, consuming a significant portion of the body's energy despite its small size. Its ability to perform depends on consistent, efficient circulation, which is often compromised by sedentary habits, poor nutrition, or simply the inertia of sleep. When circulation is optimized, neural pathways that were dormant or sluggish awaken, activating areas responsible for memory, focus, problem solving, and creativity. Within minutes, the fog of early morning lifts, replaced by a sense of alertness and presence. You begin to notice the difference in subtle ways at first. Your thoughts are clear, your emotions more stable, your ability to recall information sharper. Then, as your body and mind adapt, the effect compounds, creating a state of readiness that carries into every task you tackle, every decision you make, every interaction you have. This is not a temporary boost, it is a recalibration, a priming of your most essential organ to operate at its highest level. It is important to recognize that this activation is not just a physical process, it is psychological and emotional as well. When you see your brain functioning clearly, when you feel that surge of focus and mental energy, your confidence rises. You approach tasks with intention rather than hesitation, with clarity rather than confusion. You begin to trust yourself in ways that are impossible when your mind is sluggish. This trust, born from the physiological awakening of your brain, translates into action. You find yourself solving problems more quickly, thinking creatively under pressure, and responding to challenges with calm decisiveness. This immediate activation is the bridge between potential and performance, between passive experience and active engagement. And it starts with a single deliberate action in the morning. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity. You do not need a complex routine, expensive supplements, or hours of preparation. What is required is intention, awareness, and the willingness to engage your body and mind fully at the moment when it is most receptive. That single morning shot, taken consistently, is enough to ignite the mechanisms that optimize circulation, energy, and focus. It is a reminder that the power to transform your mental performance is in your hands, that the difference between groggy mediocrity and sharp productivity can be determined by minutes, and that's small. Intentional actions have the power to create profound results. By committing to this ritual, you are not just improving your mornings, you are redefining what your mind is capable of, unlocking cognitive potential that has been waiting for the signal to awaken, and stepping into a state of clarity, energy, and focus that can change the trajectory of your entire day. Highly adaptable, they respond not only to what you do in the moment, but to what you do consistently over time. Each day you commit to improving circulation. Each day you give your brain the resources it needs to function optimally. You are reinforcing pathways that strengthen your cognitive architecture. The brain is a network, and like any network, it thrives when connections are repeatedly activated. A single spark can illuminate a room, but repeated sparks can light up an entire city. Every morning you engage in this ritual, you create a chain reaction that compounds, making clarity, focus, and energy the natural default rather than a rare exception. The long-term benefits of consistency go far beyond immediate alertness. Your memory improves because the neurons that are regularly energized and oxygenated communicate more effectively. Patterns that were once difficult to recall or connections that seemed elusive suddenly become accessible. Your problem-solving skills sharpen because the pathways that support complex reasoning are reinforced each day. Even stress, which normally clouds judgment and drains energy, becomes more manageable. A well-circulated, well-nourished brain processes challenges with efficiency rather than panic. You begin to notice a subtle but undeniable shift in how you approach tasks. Decisions become faster, analysis becomes cleaner, and creativity emerges more fluidly. Consistency does not just maintain your cognitive function, it elevates it to levels that once seemed out of reach. This principle of compounding neurological benefits mirrors what we see in every area of life. Just as muscles grow stronger through repeated exercise, and just as skills improve with deliberate practice, your brain thrives on regular activation. Skipping days, neglecting the signal your body craves, is like ignoring a workout. The potential remains, but the capacity diminishes. On the other hand, showing up every day, even if only for a few minutes, trains your mind to operate efficiently under pressure. It conditions your brain to expect high performance, and over time, your neurosystems reorganize themselves to meet that expectation. Consistency is not about perfection, it is about persistence, about building habits that compound invisible gains into visible results. The power of this daily practice also extends to your energy, motivation, and resilience. When your brain is regularly activated, circulation optimized, and neurons consistently nourished, you experience a baseline state of heightened mental clarity. You no longer rely on external stimulants, distractions, or last-minute urgency to engage your mind. Energy becomes natural, focus becomes habitual, and the fog that often clouds early mornings disappears. This creates a feedback loop. As your brain performs better, your confidence grows, and as confidence grows, your commitment to the practice strengthens. The ritual is no longer just a task. It becomes a foundation for a life lived intentionally, for days structured by clarity and precision rather than reaction and chaos. Neuroscience supports this. When you consistently provide your brain with increased circulation and oxygenation, you stimulate the growth of dendritic connections, enhance synaptic plasticity, and improve overall cognitive resilience. Your mind becomes more adaptable, capable of learning new skills, adjusting to challenges, and solving problems creatively. What once required struggle now feels effortless. Mental fatigue diminishes because the system that powers your thoughts is functioning at peak efficiency. What seems like a small daily habit is actually a powerful investment in the long-term architecture of your cognition, an investment that pays dividends not just in moments of productivity, but in every thought, decision, and action you take throughout your life. The psychological aspect of consistency is equally critical. Habits shape identity. By showing up each morning to prioritize your brain's circulation and mental activation, you are telling yourself that your focus, your clarity, and your potential are non-negotiable. Over time, this repeated behavior becomes part of your identity. You're someone who takes action, someone who prepares, someone who respects the power of the mind and understands the role of biology in performance. Identity and action reinforce each other. As your self-perception strengthens, your performance improves. What began as a simple physical practice evolves into a profound declaration about how you live your life, the standards you set for yourself, and the control you take over your mental state. Consistency also builds momentum. One day of focus is a spark, 10 days is a flame, a month is a fire. When your brain becomes accustomed to regular activation, it anticipates the energy, the clarity, and the readiness that the ritual provides. This anticipation accelerates the benefits. You notice it the moment you begin your day. Your attention sharpens, your capacity to handle complexity improves, and your motivation to take action rises naturally. Momentum compounds in the mind just as it does in the body. The more consistently you nurture your cognitive system, the more automatic high performance becomes. Eventually, your daily practice becomes an anchor, a ritual that orients your brain toward efficiency, clarity, and deliberate action, regardless of external circumstances. Finally, consistency teaches discipline and respect for your own potential. Every time you engage in a morning ritual that improves brain circulation, you demonstrate commitment to the one resource that governs all outcomes, your mind. You are telling yourself that mental readiness matters, that clarity is not optional, and that each day is an opportunity to perform at your best. Over time, this repeated practice creates a resilient, well-prepared brain capable of meeting challenges with precision, creativity, and calm decisiveness. It establishes a foundation upon which all other success, productivity, and fulfillment can be built, reinforcing the truth that small, repeated actions compound into extraordinary results. Empowerment is not something that happens to you. It is something you claim. Every choice you make, every action you take either reinforces control over your mind or surrenders it to circumstance. The morning is a battlefield for your brain, and the moment you choose to activate circulation, to sharpen focus, and to energize thought, you are asserting ownership over your mental state. This is the essence of empowerment, the realization that you are not at the mercy of fatigue, distraction, or circumstance. Your cognitive performance, your mental clarity, and your ability to engage with life proactively are yours to command. And the first few minutes of each day are the perfect opportunity to do so. By choosing to nurture your brain, to prime it with nutrients, oxygen, and focus-enhancing compounds, you are setting a precedent for how the rest of the day unfolds. Empowerment begins with awareness, but it is solidified through action. The act of committing to a morning ritual is more than a biological intervention. It is a declaration of intent. It tells your mind that clarity is non-negotiable, that productivity is expected, and that high performance is not an aspiration but a standard. This message resonates deeply because the brain responds to consistent signals with both chemistry and structure. Neurotransmitters align, synapses fire with greater precision, and neural networks become more resilient. You are not merely improving circulation, you are training your brain to anticipate focus, to expect clarity, and to demand efficiency. Each morning, as blood rushes through neural pathways, you reinforce the belief that your mind is powerful, capable, and responsive. This is the subtle but undeniable psychological advantage of empowerment. Your brain becomes an ally rather than a liability, a tool that executes your intent rather than resists it. Empowerment also transforms how you interact with the world. A mind that is prepared, alert, and nourished does not simply react. It perceives opportunity, evaluates situations quickly, and responds with precision. You find yourself making decisions not out of stress or fatigue, but from a place of clarity and calm. Tasks that once seemed overwhelming are approached systematically. Creativity flows without resistance. Problem solving becomes intuitive. This shift is not accidental. It is the result of repeated practice, of claiming control over the one instrument that governs every choice you make, your brain. When your mental energy is consistent, your capacity for action grows exponentially. You begin to notice patterns, connect ideas, and anticipate challenges before they arise. This proactive engagement is the hallmark of empowerment, and it is cultivated through small, deliberate acts of preparation each morning. Every time you take this step, you are also reinforcing discipline. Empowerment and discipline are inseparable because the freedom to act at your highest potential depends on consistent preparation. The morning ritual is a training ground for self-control. By choosing to focus on your brain's performance, you reject the pull of distraction, procrastination, and passive engagement. You demonstrate to yourself that you are willing to invest in your mind before the demands of the day arrive. And in doing so, you strengthen the neural pathways that support sustained attention, resilience, and adaptability. Discipline, like empowerment, is not an abstract concept. It is a repeated practice, a pattern of small victories that compound into confidence, capability, and authority over your mental state. The effects of this empowerment extend into every domain of life. Your professional performance improves because your decisions are sharper, your focus deeper, and your creativity more accessible. Your relationships benefit because you are present, attentive, and responsive rather than reactive. Your personal growth accelerates because you can approach challenges strategically, absorb knowledge efficiently, and maintain mental clarity even under stress. The power of a well-prepared mind is not confined to a single task. It permeates every interaction, every choice, and every outcome. By claiming control over your brain each morning, you create a ripple effect that elevates not only your cognitive performance, but also your entire existence. You begin to operate from a position of strength, readiness, and intentionality. Empowerment also requires a shift in perspective. It is easy to blame fatigue, environment, or circumstance for underperformance, but true empowerment comes from acknowledging that the one factor within your control, your mental state, can shape everything else. By taking the initiative to improve circulation, optimize energy, and prime your focus, you remove excuses and claim responsibility for outcomes. This ownership is transformative because it changes the way you approach challenges. No longer are you passively reacting to events, you are actively shaping them with the clarity and readiness cultivated in those first few minutes each morning. This shift in mindset is as critical as the physiological benefits of improved brain circulation. Empowerment begins in the mind and is reinforced by action, and together they create a resilient, capable, and proactive individual. Finally, empowerment is cumulative. Each day you commit to this practice, you reinforce neural efficiency, mental clarity, and personal authority. Small, consistent actions compound over time, creating a brain that not only performs well in the moment, but adapts, grows, and strengthens with each repetition. You develop mental resilience, heightened focus, and the ability to manage stress, challenges, and complexity with confidence. The morning ritual is not a fleeting intervention. It is a foundation, a launch pad, and a statement that your brain, your focus, and your potential are under your command. With this repeated practice, you cultivate a state of empowerment that permeates every hour, every decision, and every experience, ensuring that you are not merely surviving each day, but thriving. With clarity, energy, and intentionality, that every morning is an opportunity, a chance to decide how your mind will show up, how your energy will flow, and how your potential will be realized. The simple act of prioritizing your brain, of giving it circulation, focus, and nourishment, is more than a routine. It is a declaration of control, discipline, and purpose. When you commit to this practice consistently, you don't just awaken your mind, you awaken your capacity to think clearly, act decisively, and engage fully with every challenge and opportunity that comes your way. Each day becomes a canvas, and the clarity, energy, and focus you cultivate are the brushes that allow you to paint it with intention rather than react to it blindly. Empowerment, preparation, and consistency are the three pillars that support every achievement, every breakthrough, and every success. By honoring these principles, you transform not only your mornings, but your life itself, creating a trajectory of performance, resilience, and fulfillment that grows stronger with every passing day. Take control of your mornings, ignite your mind, and step into each day as the architect of your clarity, your focus, and your success.